Hello, my name is Caden, and today I'm going to explain a little something here. As you can see, my water pump's off because I have to redo the gasket, but I'm going to explain how to get a seized bolt removed from your engine block. In this case, it was this bottom right one here. What was happening, as you would loosen it, it would start to get really tight, and I mean like tight. Like you put a breaker bar on it and you can barely move it, and you can feel the bolt start to twist basically. As you can see, I actually got it free, but how I did that, of course, and it took a lot of hours to do so, and I did not use any heat, I did not use any taps, I did not cut the head off a bolt or anything. The bolt that was seized is this one right here, and it almost looks like that it could just be that it needs thoroughly cleaned on the inside. My camera's probably not going to focus enough to show the threads, but the threads really don't look that bad at all. And that was a new stud a year ago when I actually changed the water pump itself. But I was rushed out of the shop I was doing it in. And there's some other small issues I had, like there's a small stud there, but that one's stuck for good, and I'm not even going to worry about it because that one just goes into the timing cover. I can see it on the other side here. But no, this one that goes into the engine block, a little more important. So what I did was I was able to back it out about a half inch or so first, and then I got all my other bolts free, so the water pump separated, and I separated the water pump. And of course you'll want to flush your coolant system before you do this. I just drained my radiator, took my thermostat out, put the housing back on, ran the engine for about 5 minutes. The radiator filled up again, and I just drained it again. You still will have coolant inside your engine block when the water pump comes off, but of course it's not going to be near as much. So but how I did it was you spray penetrating oil. I used a lot of penetrating oil, spraying it close to where that bolt was going in that hole, and just slow turns with the breaker bar. Do it a little to the left and then a little to the right, just kind of a wiggle back and forth. And what I did was I would just put the breaker bar right on the bolt, and I would just shake it like mad. And what I was hoping that would do is shock the bolt and kind of vibrate it loose, any debris or anything caught in the threads loose, and also smacking it with the end of the breaker bar just right on the end of the bolt to same thing with the vibration, the shocking it loose in it. And every time I got it out a little bit more, another millimeter or two, more penetrating oil, and the same process over and over and over. And eventually I was able to back this whole stud all the way out, when at first I only had it out about this far before it started to get really hard to turn, and I had to get it out about another at least 1.5 inches before it could go. And it took since last night during the day until just a few minutes ago today, and that's why I decided I would make the video, because I wasn't sure if I was going to succeed or not in doing that. So yeah, look at this mess down here. Gross. Yeah, this gasket was leaking because it did not get to do the full cure time back when I did this 1 year ago. And I was kind of rushed out of the shop, and I kind of voice crack. I regret that a little bit, because now here I am again 1 year later doing the same bullshit. So that's just something I thought I'd share with y'all. Something I should mention after you get your bolt out, if it is seized in there, do not just go ahead and buy a new stud kit. Well, of course you'll need a new stud kit. Always change those whenever you take off your water pump. But don't just chase it with a new bolt in there, because you can get that one stuck right away. Best thing you want to do, thoroughly clean these threads out the best you can, and chase it with a tap. Because if that tap starts to get stuck in there, then you know that the threads are bad and you're gonna have to re-tap the threads, which is probably what I'm gonna have to do. And this bottom one here was doing the same thing, so I think it's best safe if I try to re-tap this one as well. But yeah. And another thing I also wanted to talk about was the thermostat and the little O-ring for the thermostat. Now, for this car, the 1990 Bonneville, of course, Vinci 3800, I was having a hell of a time finding. I cannot find just the gasket for this. And don't walk into AutoZone or anything and ask for a thermostat gasket for this vehicle, because they're not going to give you the right one. They never have. This is the correct one. This is an OEM one I ordered offline. Of course, it's pretty shredded by now after a year, and having some dirty coolant, I imagine, and I think it's just a weaker part. You know how things are cheaper made every day. But that's an OEM AC Delco thermostat and gasket ring on that, and I had to order another one which includes the thermostat. I didn't want the thermostat, I didn't need it, but I kind of have to if I want the right gasket that wraps around the thermostat, so that my engine actually heats up and I have heat this winter, because the one O'Reilly's gives you is just going to be a regular O-ring, and it basically just sits on top of it, and that doesn't work, and I've proven that myself. But if anyone knows where to buy just the OEM gasket for the thermostat that goes on the ring, not the housing gasket, the thermostat gasket, people mix those up all the time, and yeah, that would be good to know. But anyway, I guess I'm gonna get back to it here. I thought this was something I would just disclose, because I wasn't sure if I was gonna break that bolt off in the block or not, but hopefully this helps some of you. And as soon as that starts getting tight, don't just put leverage to it, because you're more than likely going to snap it inside the block, and then that's a huge problem there. But anyway, hope this video helps somewhat, and I'll see you in the next one.